The line the galaxy had many rules, but only one that everyone feared. Never cross Earth's line. That it was not written in any treaty. No map showed it, yet every species knew it. The line was the invisible boundary where Earth's patience ended and their fury began. For decades, no one dared to test it. Until the Crath Dominion. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, a sleek human battlecruiser that patrolled the outer frontier. The hum of the ship's engines was steady, but the air on the bridge was tense. A message had just arrived from the Galactic Council. The Crath had been raiding border colonies again, taking workers, resources, even children. They're pushing further each time, said Commander Talia Wren, his second in command. They've moved within a hair of our protected zone. Ward's jaw tightened. They're testing us. The Council had already sent a formal warning to the Crath. Withdraw immediately or face consequences. A Crath response came in the form of a public broadcast. The screen flickered to life, showing a tall, insect-like alien with gleaming mandibles and eyes like shards of obsidian. It was Crath Overlord Shek. Humans, Shek hissed, his voice full of mockery. You speak of lines as if you own the stars. We cross where we wish. Your threats are wind, your ships are toys. Kneel, and perhaps we will let your colonies live. Gasps filled the council chamber as the broadcast ended. Back on the Vigilant, Ward stood still, his eyes locked on the stars ahead. They think we're bluffing, he said quietly. Commander Wren stepped closer. Are we? Ward gave her a thin smile. They'll find out soon enough. The next day, the Vigilant received a distress call. A civilian freighter, the Horizon's Hope, had vanished near Crath space. The transmission was broken, but the fear in the voice was clear. They took them. All of them. Help. Static swallowed the rest. When Ward arrived at the coordinates, he found only wreckage drifting in the void. Hull fragments floated slowly, glowing faintly from fresh energy burns. The ship's ID plate spun slowly in the dark. Wren looked over the sensor readouts. Energy signatures. Crath weapons, no doubt. Ward's hands clenched behind his back. They crossed it. Hours later, a second message arrived, this time from the Crath themselves. It was another broadcast. The Overlord grinning with sick satisfaction. Is this your mighty Earth fleet? Patrolling like frightened children? We have your people now, if you want them back. Send your ships home and admit the Crath are your betters. The bridge fell silent. Ward didn't answer immediately. He stepped to the viewport, watching the endless black of space. Somewhere, out there, humans were in Crath chains. Somewhere, a line had been crossed. That night, Ward called an emergency meeting with his senior officers. The lights in the strategy room cast deep shadows across their faces as the star maps lit up the table. The Council will want more talks, said Wren, almost spitting the word. But while they talk, more colonies will burn. Ward nodded. The Council is afraid of a war with the Crath. They forget. The Crath should be afraid of a war with us. He tapped the display. A red line appeared across the border between human space and the Crath Dominion. This is it, he said. They've crossed the line. We respond, or the galaxy will think. We have no spine. One of the younger officers, Ensign Rowe, swallowed hard. Sir, if we go in, there's no turning back. This could be the first shot of a full-scale war. Ward looked at him without blinking. Then let's make sure it's the last war they ever fight. Before the meeting ended, a priority alert chimed. Sensors had picked up a large Crath fleet, moving toward a human agricultural colony, Eden's Reach. The crew froze. Eden's Reach wasn't a military target. It was a peaceful world of farmers and families. Ward's voice was calm, but his eyes were cold steel. Set course for Eden's Reach, maximum speed. As the Vigilant cut through the void, the tension on board was electric. Everyone knew they were headed straight for a confrontation the Council had not approved. Wren leaned closer to Ward on. The bridge. Once we engage them, there's no going back. Ward's gaze stayed fixed on the distant star where Eden's Reach lay. Good. I don't intend to go back. The engines roared, pushing the battlecruiser faster toward the coming storm. Cliffhanger. At the edge of the viewport, the faint shapes of enemy warships began to appear, silhouetted against the light of the colony's sun. The craft were here, and they were ready to burn Eden's Reach to the ground. Ward gave a single order. Open a channel. I want the Overlord to hear me when I tell him this. You've crossed the line. The first strike, the craft fleet hovered over Eden's Reach like a swarm of black, armored locusts. Their ships were jagged, insect-like, each bristling with weapons that glinted in the sunlight. Below, the green farmlands and silver rivers of the colony stretched out, unaware of the danger above. On the Vigilance bridge, Captain Ward stood at the center, eyes locked on the tactical display. The enemy fleet outnumbered them 3-1. Shields at full, Ward said calmly. Shields up, Commander Wren confirmed. The comm officer turned from his console. Incoming message from the craft flagship, sir. Put it through. The face of Overlord Shek filled the screen again, his mandibles clicking in amusement. You're brave, human, or foolish. One battlecruiser against the might of the Dominion. Leave now, and perhaps we'll let your colony live. Ward didn't. Smile. Eden's Reach is under human protection. Withdraw your ships. Sheik's eyes glittered. You draw your lines, human, but in space, lines mean nothing. The transmission ended without warning. Sir, enemy weapons are charging. Wren said. Ward took a slow breath. Target their lead ship. Fire when ready. The Vigilance forward cannons roared to life, sending lances of blue energy streaking across the void. They slammed into the craft flagship's shields, lighting them in a flash of white. The craft answered instantly. Green plasma bolts rained toward the Vigilant, shaking the deck underfoot. Sparks flew from a console near the helm. Shields at 80%. Called out the engineer. Ward's voice was steady. Hold position. Make them think we're weaker than we are. Wren shot him a sharp look. You're baiting them. He nodded. Exactly. The craft fleet moved in, tightening their formation, confident they could crush one human ship. The colony below began evacuations, streams of shuttles launching. From the surface, racing for the safety of the planet's far side, not in the chaos. No one noticed the faint ripple of distortion behind the craft lines. Sir? The sensor officer's voice was low, almost disbelieving. Multiple contacts appearing. Behind them, Ward's eyes narrowed. How many? The officer swallowed. Dozens? No, hundreds. Wren leaned over the display. That's the Black Armada. Out of the void, black-holed human warships emerged, silent and massive. Each one bore the crimson crest of Earth's Defense Command. The craft fleet, so confident moments ago, now found itself surrounded. On the bridge of the craft flagship, alarms blared. The Overlord's confident grin faltered. Ward opened a channel to all ships. His voice was like cold iron. You've crossed our line. Now you'll see where it leads. The Vigilance guns flared again, but this time the fire came from every direction. The Black Armada descended on the craft like predators, cutting their formation apart in minutes. But the craft were fierce, and they did not run. Plasma torpedoes and energy beams lit the darkness. Ships on both sides took heavy damage. Wren gripped the edge of her console. They're not breaking off. Ward's gaze stayed fixed on the flagship. They think they can still win. Let's show them how wrong they are. The Vigilant dove into the heart of the battle. weaving between explosions and debris. Every shot they fired crippled another enemy vessel. But the craft flagship still loomed ahead, shields blazing. Ward's voice dropped to a low growl. "Bring us in close. I want Shek to see our guns when they end this." The turning point, the craft flagship's main cannon glowed like a newborn sun. The light was so bright, it painted the Vigilance Bridge in shades of green. Every officer felt it in their bones. One shot could tear their ship apart. Energy spike rising fast. The sensor officer shouted. Wren's voice was tight. "We have 30 seconds before it fires." Captain Ward didn't blink. "Helm, take us closer." Full speed. The crew stared at him. Closer? Toward a weapon that could vaporize them. But no one questioned. Orders were orders. The Vigilance surged forward, skimming past burning wrecks and shattered craft cruisers. The rest of the Black Armada fought tooth and claw, holding the enemy in place. Wren's hands clenched on her console. "Captain, we're in point-blank range. If they fire, they'll never get the chance," Ward said. On the craft bridge, Overlord Shek watched in disbelief. "The humans, they're charging us?" His weapons officer hissed. "Fools! Let them come closer. The cannon will tear them apart." Sheik's mandibles clicked in a smile. He had no idea it was exactly what Ward wanted. "Target the cannon housing," Ward ordered. "Load the penetrators." The weapons officers' voice was almost a whisper. "Loaded. Ready. Fire." The Vigilance railguns roared, spitting tungsten slugs at near light speed. They struck the craft flagship's cannon before it could fire, punching through armor, ripping apart conduits and power cores. A white-hot explosion bloomed across the craft flagship's bow. The great cannon died in a burst of fire and molten metal. Cheers erupted on the Vigilance bridge, but they didn't last. "Captain," the engineer yelled. "That explosion set off a chain reaction. The flagship's core is going critical." Ward's jaw tightened. "All ships, back off." Now, the craft tried to pull away, but the Black Armada pressed harder, forcing them into the blast radius. The Vigilance swung around, engines straining as the giant enemy ship tore itself apart from the inside dot. Then it happened. A colossal detonation, brighter than the sun, ripping through space. Pieces of the craft flagship spun away like burning. Meteors dot, but the victory came at a price. 3 human destroyers were caught in the shockwave. Their signals vanished from the display. Wren's voice was heavy. "We lost the Raven, the Solace, and the Iron Hand." Ward's eyes stayed on the fading light of the explosion. "We'll honor them later. Right now, we finish this." With their flagship gone, the craft fleet wavered, but they didn't retreat. In fact, more ships were entering the system from hyperspace. Wren's stomach dropped. Reinforcements. A whole second wave. Ward's voice was calm, but his eyes were like steel. "Then we fight until the last ship falls. Send the signal, no quarter." The unknown arrival. The battlefield had fallen silent for a moment, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Every human and craft ship hung in space, weapons still hot, eyes locked on the strange shape emerging from the void. It was enormous, bigger than any dreadnought either side had ever built. Its hull shimmered like liquid metal, shifting colors as if it were alive. "Captain, what is that?" Wren whispered, her voice barely audible. Ward didn't answer at first. His gaze stayed on the massive ship as it glided forward without a single visible engine flare. No heat, no drive signature. Just moving. The Vigilance sensors screamed with warnings, yet nothing could identify it. "It's not crave," the tactical officer finally said. "And it's not human. I don't even think it's on our registry of known species." On the Krath flagship remnant fleet, panic spread. Overlord Sheik's second-in-command spoke fast. "My lord, our scanners, they cannot read it. Its hull is reflecting every frequency. It's like scanning a shadow." Shek growled, "I do not like shadows." Then it spoke not over comms, not in any known language. The voice echoed directly inside every mind in the system, human, Krath, and alien alike. "War? Over scraps? How small you are." Crew members clutched their heads. Some screamed. Some fell to their knees. Ward's voice cut through the chaos. "All hands focus. It's trying to push into our minds. Stay alert." The great vessel's hull split open, revealing rows upon rows of weapon-like structures. But they weren't firing. Instead, beams of pure white light lashed out toward the wreckage of the destroyed Krath flagship, pulling the debris toward it like a magnet. "What the hell is it doing?" Ren asked. The debris began to dissolve into glowing dust, which streamed into the alien ship's body. It was feeding. "Captain." The sensor officer's voice shook. "That thing just absorbed an entire capital ship's mass in under a minute. Its energy levels are spiking. If it turns on us..." Ward didn't let him finish. "It's already a threat. Prepare all weapons. Target its hull. Full spread." On the Kraft side, Shek made his choice. Humans are not. We must strike. Together. Moments later, human and Krath ships launched a simultaneous barrage toward the unknown intruder. The alien ship didn't dodge. It simply shimmered, and every missile, beam, and slug passed through it like mist. Then it spoke again, and the tone carried cold amusement, tiny sparks trying to burn the night. Suddenly, a wave of energy erupted from the ship, sweeping across the battlefield. Systems shut down. Engines died. Shields flickered out. The vigilance lights dimmed, and for the first time, Ward felt a twinge of fear. Ren looked at him. "Captain, it just shut down both our fleets in one move." A forced alliance. The alien ship loomed over the silent battlefield, its shifting metallic skin glowing faintly in the starlight. Every ship, human and Krath, drifted powerless. Engines were dead, shields gone, weapons useless. The vast alien presence was like a predator circling prey that couldn't run. On the Vigilance darkened bridge, the crew worked frantically to reboot systems. Ren's voice was tight. "Auxiliary power is unresponsive. I can't even bring up life support control." Ward kept his eyes on the alien ship. "Then we find another way. We don't just wait to die." Across the comms, a surprising voice broke in. "Overlord Shek, human captain, we are not allies. But if we do not act together, we are both prey." Ward didn't hesitate. "Agreed. But first, tell me, what is it? You've seen it before, haven't you?" There was a pause. Then Sheik's voice came back, lower now. "My people call it the Harvester. We thought it was only an ancient story. A ship older than our empires. That feeds on war." Before Ward could answer, the alien voice returned, echoing inside their minds. "I see you remember my name. Krath. Good. You will be the first to speak the truth of what you did." Suddenly, a beam of light shot from the alien ship, locking onto a Krath cruiser. The vessel shuddered, its hull peeling apart like paper. Crew screams carried through the comms, then silence. Nothing remained but drifting dust. The Krath fleet panicked. Several ships tried to flee, but the alien ship's energy washed over them, pulling them back like a tide. Ren's voice was shaking now. "Captain, at this rate, it will take us all, one by one." Ward's eyes narrowed. "Not if we hit it. Together, but we'll need our power back first." He switched comms to the Krath flagship. "Shek, listen carefully. We have a human EMP restart protocol. If we send a synchronized surge through every ship's reactors, we might burn out whatever's holding us. Shek growled. And if it fails? Ward's voice was cold steel. Then at least we die swinging. Both fleets prepared. Engineers worked by flashlight, splicing wires, overriding safety locks. On the Vigilant, sweat dripped from Wren's brow as she rewired the main reactor controls. Ward's voice was calm but firm. On my mark, every ship surges at once. 3, 2, 1 mark. The void lit up as dozens of reactors flared. Power surged violently through circuits, shaking ships as systems roared back to life. The alien ship shuddered, for the first time, and the invisible grip on both fleets loosened. Engines online, Wren shouted. Weapons hot. But the alien voice returned, colder than before. Interesting. You resist. That makes the harvest more satisfying. The harvester's hull shifted, revealing weapons the size of human battleships. The last stand the harvester moved with the grace of something alive. Its massive weapons rotated toward the joined human and Croth fleets, the surface of its hull glowing with violent light. Ward's voice was calm, but carried urgency. Ships, focus fire on its forward section. Aim for the weapon mounts. Dozens of human and Krath vessels surged forward, engines blazing. Missiles streaked through the void. Energy beams lit space in blinding flashes. Kinetic rounds slammed. Against the harvester's shimmering skin, none of it seemed to matter. The alien ship's surface rippled and absorbed most of the damage. Then the harvester struck back. A single beam lanced through space, slicing a Krath destroyer clean in half. Another swept across a human cruiser, cutting its engines instantly, and sending it spinning into darkness. Wren's hands gripped the Vigilance console. We're not breaking it, Captain. At this rate, we'll run out of ships before we scratch it. Ward's mind raced. Then we changed the plan. Target. Its energy intake, the sections glowing during its last attack. The fleet shifted fire. Concentrated bursts slammed into the harvester's glowing nodes. This time, something happened. One node flickered, dimmed. And when dark dot, the harvester's voice echoed in every mind, sharper now, clever. But you will not live long enough to do it again. A wave of crushing force spread from the alien ship, throwing smaller vessels off course. Hulls groaned, shields collapsed, and alarms blared across the fleet. But the humans didn't stop. Krath ships, too, held their ground, firing in perfect sync with their former enemies. Ward saw an opening. Wren, divert every ounce of power into the main railgun. We get one shot, make it count. Wren didn't argue. Lights dimmed across. The Vigilant as power funneled into the massive cannon. Targeting locked on the harvester's largest node, still glowing, still vulnerable. Fire! Ward barked. The railgun roared. The slug ripped through space faster than thought, smashing into the node with the force of a meteor. The harvester's hull shuddered violently, and a brilliant explosion of white light burst from the impact. Every ship paused. The harvester's voice came again, but weaker now. You are not prey. The massive alien vessel began to drift, its shimmering skin fading to dull gray. The choice the harvester hung in space, silent but not dead. Its hull, once sleek and smooth, began to split open like a massive shell. From the cracks, tendrils of glowing metal reached out, curling and shifting as if searching for something. Ward's gut turned cold. That wasn't its real body. Deeper, older voice echoed across the comms, heavier than before. You strike well, little humans. Few have ever hurt me. But now, I will decide if you are worthy to remain. The alien's tendrils stretched toward both fleets. Energy rippled down them, powerful enough to tear ships apart in seconds. On the Croth flagship, Overlord Sheik's voice cut through. Captain Ward, whatever you are planning, do it now. If one of us dies, both species will vanish. Ward's jaw tightened. He had a plan, but it was the kind that left no way back. He opened fleet-wide comms. All ships, listen carefully. We overload our reactors and channel everything into a single combined blast. It'll either kill the Harvester or take us with it. There was no hesitation. Craft and human voices answered as one. Understood. Engines roared to full power. Reactors strained, screaming under the stress. The fleets formed a tight spear formation, all weapons and cores locked on the alien's exposed core. Wren's voice trembled. Captain, this will blow us apart too. Ward's eyes stayed fixed on the Harvester. Then let's make sure it's worth it. The Harvester's tendrils reached them. Just as they touched the first ships, Ward gave the order. Fire, everything. A blinding wave of combined energy erupted from the spear formation, slamming into the Harvester's core. The explosion swallowed the alien ship, the fleets, and the surrounding space in pure white light. When the light faded, the Harvester was gone. Every human in Krath's ship floated, battered but alive. Systems flickered back online.sz x single quotes s voice came over comms, quieter now. Captain Ward, you have my respect. You also have my debt. Ward exhaled slowly, staring into the empty void where the Harvester had been. No, you have humanity's. Warning, never cross the line again. Final scene. The Vigilant turned for home, its hull scorched but still flying. Behind it, the human and Krath fleets drifted together, an unspoken understanding forged in the fire of the last stand. Somewhere, far away, in the darkness between stars, a faint whisper echoed, "Not prey." Not yet.